Okay, now that you have some of your blocks created, I'm going to show you how to do these electrical construction drawings. So we're going to start in our model here. And then again, I still have these up here so you can show you how to do this. So there's just a few things, and this is fairly simple, fairly basic, the way that we will draw these. So I'm not going to show you exactly how to do all of them. I'm going to let you kind of work your way through this. As we made this home run, you should be able to do your go to the block and insert and find the home run that you have made. My home run is literally upside down the way that we want it here. So I'm just going to select it and then hit rotate. I'm sorry. I'm going to select it and hit mirror. So I'm going to do the mirror image of that, and then I'm going to roll it around to where it looks like it's on top. Just do a straight line. In this case, I do want to delete my source, so I'm going to leave it up there. And you can, if you have made your switch as a block, you can just insert your block, or it's not that difficult to add it. I'm just going to add it here. And I do want you do need to make sure that you are in your component layer, so the switch really is a component. So I'm going to go to text, and I'm just going to draw me a box somewhere out here, and I'm just going to do a capital S and then a 1. Now, this is not sized correctly. Sizing this text can be a little bit of an issue, so you have to highlight it first. And I'm going to make this 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to put an inch in front of my 1 there and a space. And then again, you have to hit enter or it's not going to change. You notice here that the S is still small. And then when I hit enter on the keyboard, then it will go to that larger size. And I'm going to highlight the 1, and then I'm going to delete this and make this just 1 inch, and not the half. So you have to delete the half because it automatically puts the half in there. So you just have to type in 1 to make sure it doesn't say a half, and then hit enter. And it'll make that 1 inch tall. And this is not really where I want it, so I'm going to highlight it and then move it over to about where I want it. I'm going to zoom in to make it look so I can see where it is. And then we can draw our light. Again, if you have the block for the light already created, you can click it and drag it in. I'm going to show you maybe a little secret to the light. It is a 4-inch radius. So I'm just going to draw a circle, and again, it needs to be in the lighting layer. So we're going to put it in the lighting layer here, lights and fans. I think I do want it in just the lighting layer. So I'm just going to come up here and draw a circle. I'm just going to do a 4-inch radius. And now, so according to our template over here, we want it to be 2 3/4 outside of our circle. So I'm just going to draw a line from the center part of our circle here. Let me zoom in a little more so we can see it a little better. So I'm going to go to the center of our circle, and I'm going to just draw right to the edge. And it needs to be in that horizontal plane. And then I would draw another line from that intersection point, and I'm going to go up 2.75. This will be our 2 3/4. Now you can rotate these around, or you can draw each individual one of them around and make your line. I already have a block made, so I'm just going to take my block and insert it over here. It doesn't have to be exactly lined up, just somewhere over here, wherever you would like. And I'm going to delete that. Now, to do the wiring, so we can't really make a block for this wire that goes from here to here because depending on where you put this, they all may be different. So you can, again, put this almost wherever you want. Make it relatively close to your light, make it relatively close to the same plane. It doesn't need to be on the same plane, maybe up just a little bit, but just somewhere oriented in your drawing fairly close to your switch. And then we're going to go make sure, again, you got to make sure you're in the right layer when you do these. So we're going to go to our wiring label. And I have these all green. You can be a little creative with this drawing if you would like. So we're going to draw an arc from our light to our switch. So you can't, I like to use the start end angle for our arc. There is CAD does have some quirks in it, and I'm going to start with the center. I'm going to show you how not to do it first. For what if you go this way, you notice our arc is on the wrong side. So for whatever reason, CAD, it wants to start on this end. So I'm going to delete this arc, and you have to do your arc from right to left. So I'm going to click a point out here next to my switch, and again, it doesn't have to be right on the switch, but just somewhere close. And I'm going to go to the center of our light, and then I'm going to go up into the perpendicular to our starting point, and that will be where our wire is going to go. And then we can just trim off the excess from the center, and that will line us up and get our arc lined up correctly. We have one more thing to do here. We have to add our wires to this. If you have added your conductors here into your blocks, you can just click on this to conductor, and I like to go into the center point of our arc, the midpoint, and that will be where we put our wire. You notice that it is not oriented correctly, so you will have to rotate this. So there's a couple ways to do this, and I've always liked clicking the thing I want to rotate first and then click rotate. But I'm going to show you, if you hit the rotate first, it's going to ask you to select the object. So we're going to select the object we want, and we can select more than one if we want. But to rotate it, we have to hit our right mouse button. Then this is asking us to select a point where we want to rotate it from. So we want to rotate it from our midpoint there. That will be the end of the middle of our wire picture. And then you notice it's rotating around with us. Then we're going to get it to where it is about halfway in the middle of our circle there. And that will be where our wire goes. So you will have to do, because all of your arcs are going to be a little different, you will have to rotate your wires every time you put them in the wire line, because our arc is always going to be a little bit of a different angle. So we will have to add our conductor sizing accordingly as we go on. So that's how you will add your conductor. Okay, once you get your light wired up, these are fairly simple. So you should have a block already for your duplex receptacle. So you can just click and drag your duplex receptacle out here on the screen somewhere, and then you have your home run made. I like to put the end of the home run on the end of our line here of our duplex receptacle. And then we're going to go from the home run. The home run is going to the breaker box. So I don't know if I explained that before, but the home run will be going to the breaker panel and then to the receptacle. And in a regular house wire, you have like 5 or 6 receptacles. This is just showing you how to do it, and you just repeat. And then you would draw our arc from one receptacle to the other, and we'll put our conductor size in there. And again, it depends on how far these are apart. It depends on what the angle of this is, so we have to do each one of those individually. So then to do a switched receptacle, you can, again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just copy this and paste it down here, and then delete this receptacle and add your switch. So have your home run going to your switch, and that is just a regular 2-conductor wire. But this receptacle, so we're only switching one side of our receptacle. This receptacle, this side will have power on it all the time, and this one will be controlled by our switch. So we have to have a 3-conductor wire going to this, and so this side will be providing power directly from our incoming source. But this side will be going through our switch. So really we have 2 hots. One hot leg is switched, and the other hot leg is just hot all the time. And then our neutral. That's why we have to have a 3-conductor wire going to our switched receptacle. And that would be the way that we would draw that. And then again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just copy this again down here to make our GFCIs. So here you just have to add text for the GFCIs and make sure this one says protected. So this is just a regular duplex receptacle, but it is protected by this GFCI, and it will have the wire going back and forth to the other one. And then this is our 3-way switch. So you will add your home run to your switch, and then have a traveler wire here. Again, this is the 3-conductor wire that goes from one switch to the other, and it will have to have the 3-conductor wires going there and then to the light. And again, these are fairly simple. I will show you how to get it from the model to our template. So you'll have to just highlight these, and we'll just copy them, Control-C. Don't use the copy here, but we'll do a Control-C to put it on the clipboard of our computer. and then we'll go into the template side of this. Maybe we'll go into the template side of this. Why is it not letting me go into the template side of this? So there we are. So now we got to the template side of this, and then we'll just do a Control V and paste this. You notice this is huge. This is really big compared to what we have. So we're going to have to scale this down. So we're just going to put this somewhere out here, out of the way of this. And I am going to move it over a little bit so we can make sure that we get all of them. And I just want to highlight all of these and to go from the bottom to the top to make sure that you get everything in there. And then we're going to type SC for our scale, and then select scale. And it's asking you just a base point. So it really doesn't matter where you pick your base point, but just pick it somewhere close to where you want to scale this down. And then you notice it's moving up and down, and then you just type in 1 divided by 30, and that will be a 1 to 30. So now it's really tiny. So we're going to just select all of these that we've just moved over, and we're going to move these into our template. Now your template should be empty. Mine already has them on there just to show you, but you can move these. You can put them wherever you would like on your template. I'm going to zoom in a little farther here so you can see this. Again, these are a little small, but this is the scale that we're going to use for our final project. So I want to make these blocks the same scale. If we made them a different scale, it would you'd have to rescale them every time. So we're just going to make them for the scale of our final project, and then they're just going to look smaller here. And I do want you to make a legend here, so I want you to bring each one of these components over here, and I want you to give a description of what they are. A GFCI protected. I want you to have your switch receptacle there. I want to have a single switch and a three-way switch, and then your light fixture. And then this, again, we will build on this as we go along throughout the rest of this semester. And then I'll show you one more thing about our title blocks. We do have to make sure our scale is correct. So we know that 1 inch on our paper will be 30 inches in the real world. So we will need to know what that scale is. Our sheet number is still 1. You will change your date. The check by will still be my name, but you will put your name here in the drawn by. And this is revision 1. So when we do our next exercise, we're going to do the bedroom, and we'll make this a revision 2, and then you will make the date. So when we do our next one, we will change this, leave the drawn date as it is. Then you'll have a revision 2 and the new date there when we do our next drawing. So once you have this done, I want you to save it as electrical construction drawings, and then I want you to submit it into Blackboard.